Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about K-pop Demon Hunters again. It looks like they're going to be putting the movie back into theaters. It was in theaters for a weekend earlier this year, and it was extremely successful despite being in the theater only for a weekend. And I did a video on that if you want to check that out. So I'm not surprised they're going to be putting it back in theaters, but I also think that this could be a new precedent for movies. It's no secret that movie theaters have been struggling ever since the pandemic, being one of the businesses that was hit the hardest from the lockdowns. There's this article here that talks about it. This is from June of this year, so it's a bit dated, but basically it's talking about how even a few years after the fact, movie theaters were still struggling, and even asks if theaters can survive for the next 20 years. But basically they're talking about how most theaters have not fully recovered, and they're looking for ways to cut costs as a way to survive. Overall attitudes are not optimistic at all. According to this, half of those who work in cinema believe that it won't last for 20 years, even though the majority still believe in a strong exclusive theater window, so having a movie come out in theaters first for however many weeks, or even months in some cases. But yeah, overall, they're not optimistic, it's not looking very good. And the thing is, back in the day, movie companies didn't have to solely rely on theaters the way they kind of do now, because they had also DVD sales and VHS sales and Blu-ray and so on and so forth. So they still had a chance to make their money back even if the movie didn't do too well in theaters. But I think that that was also beneficial for theaters too, because it meant that they had more options. They had everything from, smaller budget movies to action and blockbusters and so on and so forth. Whereas nowadays, because of streaming and most people, you pay a monthly subscription fee to watch whatever content, that bypasses the theaters. So now companies aren't getting as big of a payout as they used to, and also theaters are not getting ticket sales the same way they used to, and that has been a major factor in causing these struggles. But now with K-pop Demon Hunters, they're taking this movie that was extremely successful on streaming and putting it in theaters, so they know that it has an audience who is very passionate about the film, and considering how successful it was in theaters already, it does seem like it's an obvious thing to do, very opportunistic. And also they're doing it on Halloween, which, it's an event. And I think that that's really important for the cinema nowadays, where they need to basically make an event out of going to the movies. A lot of movies have benefited from that, like Barbenheimer, for example, the Barbie Oppenheimer double feature, because there was such a stark contrast between the vibe of those two movies, so it ended up becoming a meme. But I think that this will probably be able to breathe new life into theaters. Not everything has to be a meme like Barbenheimer or the Minecraft movie or something, but if they take movies that were successful on streaming and put them in theaters, that's probably going to do well for them, and it's something that they really need. Really quick, before we get into the article, I wanted to talk about my comic book coming out soon. We're hoping to have pre-orders up soon, and it's going to be on Amazon, so anyone can buy it at any time. We're really excited about this project. It's about a man named Jason who lives in a post-apocalyptic world that's been overrun by monsters, and he goes back in time to stop the monsters from happening in the first place. So if you like science fiction and action, I definitely recommend checking it out. This has been a long time in the making, and Em and I worked really hard, and we really hope you guys enjoy it. So thanks for hearing me out, and we'll get back into the article now. Huntrix is returning to movie theaters near you. Netflix is bringing K-pop Demon Hunters, an animated fantasy adventure about a fictional K-pop girl group who protect the world from demons with their music, back to the big screen for Halloween-themed sing-along screenings. Costumes are encouraged, the streamer wrote in a press release. It'll play from October 31st to November 2nd, so playing into Halloween, you get to dress up as demon hunters and go to the movie theater, and it's going to be at all three major cinema chains, AMC, Regal, and Cinemark, along with select theaters, I guess independent theaters. That's significant because the nation's top circuits are usually loath to program films from the theatrical verse Netflix. Yeah, this is unprecedented. This is something that has never happened before, but K-pop Demon Hunters is currently the most successful property that Netflix has, so they're going to look for whatever way to milk it, and momentum is not dying down anytime soon. So here we are, but it continues with, to that end, it's also notable that Netflix is re-releasing its its most popular movie in cinemas. For exhibitors, this should be another boon amid a sluggish October at the box office. All that's otherwise currently scheduled to open around Halloween is Yorgos Lanthimos, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, and Emma Stone's twisted thriller Bugonia, and a Twilight re-release. So a thriller and a vampire movie, pretty on brand. K-Pop Demon Hunters topped the box office in late August, generating a surprisingly strong estimated 18 million when a sing-along edition was initially released in theaters for 2 days. It was unusual that Netflix scheduled K-Pop Demon Hunters on the big screen in the first place, not just because the company doesn't prioritize theatrical, but because the movie had debuted on the streaming platform about 2 months prior. Yeah, ironically, K-Pop Demon Hunters was made by Sony Pictures Animation, and it was supposed to go to theaters, but they didn't actually believe in the project, so they instead stuck it on streaming, only for it to be ridiculously successful, so maybe Sony learned their lesson there, but I digress. But since June, K-Pop Demon Hunters has become Netflix's most popular release ever, while 3 of its original songs, Golden, Your Idol, and Soda Pop, have been mainstays on Billboard's Top 100 chart. A theatrical event helps drive fans back to the platform for rewatches and the forthcoming sequel. And on the music front, even though these songs have been out for like 4 months now, they're still very high up there in the Billboard charts, even though there have been major releases like Taylor Swift's latest album, and they still have not been knocked off. Granted, Taylor Swift's new album has been not well received, to say the least, but still, we have major pop stars releasing music, and K-Pop Demon Hunters is still holding strong. They're basically fighting for like the number 2 spot, which is very impressive. And I think the music is a major reason why this movie has been able to reach the heights that it has. The music is very good, and I think that that really speaks to the talent of the people behind the movie. So moving on, AMC Theaters, the world's largest circuit, was the only major chain that didn't play the film for the first time around. Now K-Pop Demon Hunters will screen at approximately 400 AMC locations across the US and in Europe. So basically AMC learned their lesson, and this time they're not missing out on a piece of the pie. And AMC seems to be softening its stance against Netflix, meaning this might not be the last collaboration between the dominant theater chain and the biggest streaming platform. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. They're probably going to do this again. AMC played Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, in 2022, but otherwise has avoided scheduling Netflix releases because the two companies don't agree on the length of time a movie should remain exclusively in theaters. I can understand why Netflix wouldn't want movies to be in theaters that long, but I do think an agreement would be mutually beneficial for both companies, and I think that they're starting to realize that too. So the article finishes off by saying, while the two companies have not had a commercial relationship in recent years, both Netflix and AMC are intrigued by the mutually beneficial opportunities that could arise from this and future collaboration, a spokesperson for AMC Theaters said in a statement. Discussions are underway as to what that may entail, but no further details are being shared at this time. Yeah, I think that it's frankly a no-brainer for them to just collaborate and kind of get off their high horse when it comes to these things. I think that the movie and entertainment landscape has been changing very rapidly in the last decade, and they basically had to adapt or die. Otherwise, it's probably going to end up like that other article was saying, where they're not going to last for another 2 decades. But this might be a way out for them. So that's my thoughts on all this. What do you guys think? Do you think that Netflix and other streaming services are going to start putting more movies in theaters? Do you think that this could save the theater industry? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Spam, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Omni Fair, J Cavalry, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwine Boot 301, Frankie Camarillo, Crimson Phantom, Jin the Goblin, Daunter, G-Rock, Lucas Geist, Papa Hud 69, The Gengar King, and Snoopy Von Snoops. Thank you all so much for the support, and if you would like to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.